Hello po. Hello? Hello po. Hello. Hello po. Hello? Hello po. Pwede po ba audio check? Pa-comment lang po if naririnig po ako sa side po ninyo. Hello po. Magandang gabi po sa lahat. Pasensya na po. Pa-audio check po muna. Baka po kasi hindi po nagre-reflect po sa side po ninyo. Hello? Alright, ayan. Hello po. Hello po pala sa lahat. Pasensya na po at medyo nangangapa pa sa OBS. Hello po. Alright, ayan. Hello po. Hello po pala sa lahat. Pasensya na po at medyo nangangapa pa sa OBS. I don't know if narinig po ba ako ninyo sa side po ninyo. Let me check. Hello? Pwede po, pwede po bang magpa-comment kung narinig po ako? Or baka sa internet po kasi, wait lang. Okay, thank you so much po, Ma'am Mike, Ma'am Aika, for the affirmation. At least narinig po ako. Ayan, good evening po sa lahat. Hello. Hello, hello. Okay, sige po. Okay, let's start. Okay. Ayun, naririnig na po ako. So, today we will be discussing about trends and issues in social studies. And pag sinabi natin trends and issues, ito po yung mga nangyayari ngayon, yung mga issue po na kinakaharap sa ngayon, nung nakaraan, at sa mga or sa hinaharap. Ayun. Sige, let us now begin. So, sa mga hindi pa po ako kilala, I am Coach Clint and I will be your coach for um, 4 sessions, 4 sessions. And together with me, kasama ko rin po yung ating mga coaches na sila rin po yung gagabay po sa inyo mga social studies major. Ayun. Sige po, we will now begin our discussion. So, as part of our orientation, questions, then rationalization. Then, bear with me po, kasi medyo mahina po yung internet at baka po um, hindi po masyadong clear yung boses ko. So, let us try our best to answer all the questions and paki-comment na lang po yung mga answers po natin. Then, huwag po kayong mag-alala. Ito po ay recorded and pwede nyo pa siyang bisitahin whenever and wherever you want. You want. Okay. Ready na po ba? Sige, let us now start with number... Delayed po ba siya? Wait lang. Okay. With what is trend? Pag sinabi po ba nating pag sinabi nating trend, ano po yung unang lalabas po sa ating tawag nito, sa ating mind? 'Di ba? Pag sinabi nating trend, dalawa lang po kasi 'yan. It's an indicator of an upward curving line or a curve on a graph indicates a pattern of progressive change in a condition, output, or process. At pwede rin po itong, it can refer to the average or overall propensity of a group of data points to move in a certain direction over time. Okay, that's trend, 'di ba? Pag meron tayong nakita na graph, tapos ito ay paakyat, daang-daang paakyat, that's an example of trend. Yan po yung ibig sabihin ng trend. And also, trend can also emerge from various kind of change, such as technological shifts or new cultural norms. A trend is something A trend is something that's developing and changing over time. So, yun po yung ibig sabihin ng trend. Okay. Number 1. Which of the following best exemplifies the concept of a trend as it relates to social media usage? A. The number of users on a particular platform at any given moment. B. The consistent increase in number of users on a specific social media platforms over several years. Or C. The popularity of a particular meme or viral video within a short period. Or D. The preferences of individual users for different social media platforms. What's our answer for this item? Pag sinabi nating number one, which of the following best exemplifies the concept of a trend as it relates to social media usage? Di ba nga po, ang trend ay, that's letter B, the consistent increase in the number of users on a specific social media platform over several years. That's letter B. Huwag po kayong mahihiya na ilagay ang sagot po natin sa comment section, and that will be our, hindi naman graded, pero that will be our proof of participation. Okay, number 2. What major factors create trends? What major factors create trends? Pag sinabi natin trends, major factors, is it 1. Government, 2. International transactions, 3. Speculations and expectations, or 4. Supply and demand? What is our answer? What major factors can create change? A. 1 and 2. B. 1, 2, 3, and 4. C. 1, 2, and 4. Or D. 1, 2, and 3. Our answer for this item, that's what major factors create trends? That's letter B. 1, 2, 3, and 5, and 4. So, lahat po yan ay mga major factors that can create trends. Okay, number 3. What major change creates a trend? Number 3. What major change creates a trend? A. Innovation. B. Stagnation. C. Revolution. D. Involution. What major change creates a trend? That's innovation. Okay. What major change creates a trend? Innovation. Yung mga ginagamit po natin ngayon na hindi po natin ginagamit dati, that's a product of innovation. And that's a major change that creates a trend nowadays. So that's letter A, innovation. Number 4. Among social trends which easily passes. Example, fashion. 4. Among social trends which easily passes. Example, fashion. A. Mores. B. Fad. C. Laws. And D. Norms. Di ba pag sinabi nating trends, ito yung parang merong increase of attention, increase of perceptions, increase of opinions, whatsoever, and social trends is among them. And which easily passes. Meron kasi tayong mga trends na mabilis lang mawala. Anong tawag doon? That's letter B, fad. That's letter B, fad. Kasi pag sinabi nating fad, it can gain attention, or kumbaga merong attention or increased attention of the society, pero as time goes by, ito ay nawawala. That's fad. Okay, ano bang ibig sabihin ng fad? Any type of group behavior that emerges within a culture, age, wait lang po, balikan lang natin. Okay. Any type of behavior a group behavior that emerges within a culture, age, social group, and involves a brief period of passionately following an urge. Okay? Pag sinabi po nating fad, pwede din po siyang tawagin na craze. Yan po, pwede din po siyang tawagin na craze. Yung panandalian lang kasi yung fad. Okay, a fad is a sudden, short-lived craze. 'Di ba? If you're familiar, wait lang, hindi po ba nafa-flash? Saglit lang po. Medyo technical problem lang po. Wait a minute. Hirap po palang gamitin ng OBS. Wait lang. Ayun. Sige. Pag sinabi po nating fad, it's a sudden short-lived craze. Kagaya po ng nasa ating illustration, yung spinner, 'di ba? Usong-uso 'yan dati pero ngayon wala na. Yung mga anak natin bumibili nito tapos nasaan na? That's an example or classic example of fad. Number 5. Which of the following best exemplifies a fad? Number 5, which of the following best exemplifies a fad? A. The long-term popularity of classic rock music. B. A brief but intense obsession with a new social media app. C. The consistent use of a particular brand of toothpaste over many years. Or D. The gradual increase in the popularity of a new technology over time. Which of the following best exemplifies the fad? Sagot po, that's, di ba pag sinabi nating fad, ano nga yun? Short-lived trend. Answer. Hindi sa letter A because meron tayong nilagay na long-term popularity. Hindi rin si letter D because it's a gradual increase over time. That's letter B. A brief but intense obsession with a new social media app. Okay. If you're familiar with the Musical.ly, di ba? Grabe yung Musical.ly noong 2015. But afterwards, nawala na lang siya na parang bula. At pinalitan siya ng TikTok. Number 6. Which of the following is a potential negative consequence of fad? Which of the following is a potential negative consequence of fad? Pag sinabi nating potential negative consequence of fad, that's letter, ano ba yung mga negative consequence? That's letter, is it A, increased consumer choice and variety, B, stimulation of creativity and innovation, C, short-term economic benefits for businesses, or D, wasteful consumption and environmental impact? Surely, pag kayo sasagot, always eliminate choices. Pag sinabi natin letter A, that's positive. Increased consumer choice and variety. Totoo naman. Letter B, stimulation of creativity and innovation. Yes. C, short-term economic benefits for businesses. Because again, nakakatulong din naman si FAD. But that's letter D, wasteful consumption and environmental impact. 'Di ba? Okay, ano ba ang kaibahan ni trend at saka ni FAD? Pag sinabi nating trend, it's long lifespan. Pag sinabi nating fad naman, that's short lifespan. Okay, pag sinabi nating trend, longer years. Pag sinabi nating fad, emerged and disappeared quickly. Si trend naman, rising slow in popularity. Si fad, rising quickly in popularity, but disappeared quickly. Pag sinabi nating trend, endure with or without popularity. Si fad naman, hyped or advertised by media. Okay, that's the difference between trend and fad. Okay, number 7. Change becomes an issue when it creates a blank. Again, change becomes an issue when it creates a blank. A. Disagreement. B. Discomfort. C. Drawback. Or D. Duplication. 7. Change becomes an issue when it creates a blank. Di ba? Change is the only thing constant. Okay? And inevitable. Pag sinabi natin inevitable, hindi natin yan mapipigilan because meron talagang mga pagbabago. So, it becomes an issue kung meron siyang disagreement. Okay? Kung meron siyang disagreement between people. Okay, what is issue ba? Pag sinabi natin issue, ano ba ibig sabihin ng issue? So, it only exists when a group of individuals pushes for it, garners attention, or makes a major move that causes people to take notice. Okay, magiging issue lang yan kapag brought up. Okay, bakit ganito? Bakit ganyan? Ano to? Ano to? Diba? Ganyan yung issue. Issue is an important topic or issue that is the subject of debate or discussion. Whereas trend naman, it denotes the general course that something is taking as it moves, develops or leans when changes result in conflict. It also becomes troublesome. That's issue. Okay, based on the discussion about issue, which of the following scenarios best represents an issue? Diba? Pag sinabi nating issue, it garners attention, makes a major move that causes people to take notice. Among sa scenarios na present ngayon, what is the best example of issue? A company launches a new product that quickly gains popularity. B. A community debates the construction of a new highway that would impact local residents. C. A fashion trend emerges where people wear a particular style of clothing. D. The average age of the population in a country gradually increases. Which of the following scenarios best represents an issue? That's letter B. A community debates the construction of a new highway that would impact local residents. That becomes an issue. That's letter B. Okay, 8.5. What is a contemporary issue? What is a contemporary issue? Is it A? It is a belief that uproots from generation to generation. Or B? It is a hearsay that transfers from the mouth of other people. Or C, it is a frame of mind that shapes people's beliefs and opinions. Or D, it is a problem currently affecting people or places that is unresolved. Pag sinabi natin contemporary issue, what comes to our mind? Contemporary, that's letter D. It is a problem currently affecting people or places that is unresolved. Pag sinabi natin contemporary, now, currently, that's contemporary issue. Okay, we have components of contemporary issues. Now, isa-isahin natin because we're now done with the principle or the concept of trends and issues in social studies. Dito naman tayo sa contemporary issues. Part pa rin siya ng trends and issues. We have A to F. A, social trends and issues. B, political trends and issues. Economic, historic, geographic, and trends and issues in education. Now, hindi tayo magde-delve deeper, but we will just touch some of the information. Okay, let's now start with social trends. So, what is a social issue ba? It's a circumstance or attitude that affects many people negatively and for which the majority perceives the need for remedy. Okay, ano bang mga example ng social issue? Poverty. That's an example of social issue. Ano pa? Hunger. That's an example of social issue. Now, pag sinabi nating social issue, number 9, which of the following scenarios best exemplifies a social issue? Di ba pag social issue, apektado dito ang karamihan sa atin. Lalong-lalo na sa ating society. Now, saan sa mga sumusunod best exemplifies a social issue? A. A person experiences difficulty finding a job after graduating from college. B. A family struggles to make ends meet due to rising living costs. C. A large portion of the population lacks access to clean drinking water. Or D. A student struggles to understand a complex mathematical concept. Social issue. That's, di ba, social issue. That's a large portion of the population that lacks access to clean drinking water. Because again, pag sinabi nating social issue, balikan natin, it affects many people for which the majority perceives the need for remedy. That's social issue. Number 10, addressing social issues often requires collective action. Which of the following is a crucial factor in addressing social issues effectively? A. Individual responsibility and personal initiative. B. Government intervention and public policy. C. Charitable donations and individual philanthropy. Or D. Ignoring the issue and hoping it will resolve itself. Again, addressing social issues often requires collective action. Now, which of the following is a crucial factor in addressing social issues effectively? That's letter B, government intervention and public policy. Okay, in addressing social issues, sino ba ang merong kapangyarihan or merong polisiya na pwedeng maipatupad para masolusyonan ang social issues na kinakaharap ng isang bansa? Ikaw lang ba? Individual responsibility? Through donations or ignoring the issue? Siyempre, that's letter B, the government. So, the government has the power to solve these social issues. Okay, but bumalik na to. That's letter B. Number 12. What is the fundamental principle underlying human rights? Diba? Napapanood natin to lagi sa TV, naririnig natin yung term na human rights. Now, what is the fundamental principle ba ng human rights? A. They are granted based on individual merit and achievement. B. They are determined by cultural and societal norms. Or C. They are inherent to all human beings regardless of their background. Or D. They are privileges that can be granted or taken away. Pag sinabi natin human rights, nagagrant ba siya because top-notcher ka? Nagagrant ba siya because isa kang politiko? Pag sinabi natin human rights, that's inherent to all human beings regardless of their background. Kahit mayaman ka man or hindi, politiko ka man or hindi, artista ka man o hindi, but we all have our fair share of human rights. That's letter C. Letter A. What is human rights? That's moral guidelines or rules for certain expectations of acceptable human conduct. Again, kakamention lang, no matter what our nationality, religion, sex, ethnicity, color, race, or any other status, we are all endowed with these universal rights. That's human rights. Right to life, that's a part of human rights. Okay, number 13. A government passes a law that allows citizens to sell the right to vote. This law would be a considered violation of what? So, a government passes a law that allows citizens to sell the right to vote. This law would be considered a violation of what? A. Alienable rights. B. Inalienable rights. C. Human rights. Or D. Societal norms. That's inalienable rights. Okay. We have two categories of human rights. Pag sinabi nating human rights, merong two categories yan. Una, alienable rights. Ito po yung mga rights na pwede nating matransfer, pwede nating mabenta, or those who are given away. For example, the right to occupy a house you own. That's alienable rights. Pag sinabi nating inalienable rights are those which cannot be surrendered, renounced, or removed. For example, right to life, right to suffrage, di ba? Although, very hypocrite naman na yung iba ay nagpapaka tawag nito, nagpapa-impluwensya sa vote buying, 'di ba? Aminin na naman natin sa hindi. Although we're discussing about social trends, present naman po talaga yung bintahan ng boto. But right to suffrage an example of inalienable rights. Okay, remember po, human rights is a moral power, not just a physical power. Human rights are inviolable. Okay? And human rights are indivisible, interdependent, and interrelated. Okay, human rights, moral power. Hindi po yan, not just a physical power. Okay? Number 14. There is a violation of blank in cases of extrajudicial killings. Again, there is a violation of blank in cases of extrajudicial killings. A. Search and seizure order. B. Due process of law. C. Arrest warrant. Or D. Equal protection under law. Merong violation of what in cases of extrajudicial killings? Classic example. Ay yung drug war. Okay, that's what? That's letter B, due process of law. Okay, there is a violation of blank in cases of extrajudicial killings. That's due process. Because, let's be frank. Although, let's be frank with each other because this is social studies and we are all here to learn. And alam naman natin na merong mga victims yung drug war noong administrasyon ni former President Duterte, and there is a clear violation of due process of law. That's letter B. Dapat dumaan talaga sa due process yung mga iba na nadamay. Okay? Number 15. What is missing with alleged extrajudicial killings of drug pushers? In connection then sa number 14 na question, what is missing with alleged extrajudicial killings of drug pushers? A. Police surveillance. B. Due process of law. C. Freedom rights. Or D. Equality rights. Ano ba yung nawawala or dapat i-fill sa gap with alleged extrajudicial killings? That's due process of law pa rin. That's letter B. Okay, one of the social trends and issues over the years ay yung war on drugs. So in the Philippines, the anti-drug campaign has been shaped under former President Rodrigo Duterte. Numerous alleged human rights abuses, most notably extrajudicial murders that go against the rule of law were linked to this campaign. Kaya one of the reasons or questions thrown to this administration ay ito, yung extrajudicial murders. I know that's very sensitive topic, but we're social studies. We need to dwell. Okay, number 16. What is the main essence of gender equality that women are fighting for? What is the main essence of gender equality that women are fighting for? A. Freedom from sexual abuse and exploitation. B. Respect, dignity, and shared responsibility and recognition. C. Women empowerment for them to get out of home. Or D. Similar opportunities and performance of duties according to law. 'Di ba meron tayong fight for gender inequality, especially for women. Now, what is the main essence kung bakit nila pinaglalaban ang kanilang karapatan or ang equality? That's letter B. Because for them, they need to be respected. They need their dignity and shared responsibility and recognition na hindi lamang dapat lalaki because babae naman. Okay, merong mga babae. That's letter B. Gender equality. Women empowerment. That's letter B. That's the main essence. Although, naririnig natin lagi women empowerment. Totoo naman. But letter C, tingnan nyo po, women empowerment for them to get out of home. Okay, gender equality, it occurs when persons of all genders have equivalent opportunities, rights, and responsibilities. Okay? Isa sa mga social issues, di ba, yung gender inequality na nakakaapekto sa lahat, including men, women, transgender, and genders non-conforming individuals, kids, and families. That's gender inequality and gender equality. Number 17. The advocacy and promotion of sexual orientation, gender identity, and expression, or SOGIE, that even reached the podium of the Congress has been a resounding issue. Icey Guerra, a well-known child performer, Little Miss Philippines winner, and a singer, was a biological female but now identified herself as a man and turned transgender and not a lesbian. What SOGIE concept best describes her case? Or his case? What SOGIE concept best describes his case? A. Gender preference. B. Gender identity. C. Sexual orientation. Or D. Gender expression. Okay, SOGIE. Ito yung dapat na isulong para sa ating mga kapatid na nasa LGBTQIA+ community. That's Icey Guerra. That's gender identity. That's letter B, gender identity. Okay. According to amnestyorg.ph, SOGIE Bill, na ito yung dapat na ipasa na talaga. The SOGIE Equality Bill recognizes the fundamental rights of every person regardless of sexual orientation and gender identity. At its core, it aims to provide fair and equal opportunities for everyone in accessing basic social services, opportunities, healthcare, protection, and justice while acknowledging and breaking down the barriers that exist for people with diverse SOGIE SC. Okay. Okay. Tanong, meron na bang naka-file or nakabinbin na Senate bill for this? Yes, meron po. And it was submitted by the Committee on Women, Children, Family Relations, and Gender Equality with Senators Conteveros, Ligarda, and Villar M as authors. So, it's an act prohibiting discrimination on the basis of sexual orientation, gender identity or expression, or sex characteristics, and providing penalties therefore. That's SOGIE SC Equality Act. Okay, these are the definition of terms based on the Senate bill filed. Pag sinabi natin gender expression, it refers to a person or how he or she communicates gender identity to others through behavior, sa pananamit, sa hairstyle, sa communication or speech pattern, sa body characteristics. That's gender expression. For example, nakakita tayo ng isang tawag na to, part ng LGBTQIA pero isa siyang babae, but naka-dress siya or nakapandamit siya ng panlalaki. That's part of gender expression. And letter G, gender identity. It refers to a person's innermost concept of self as man or woman or another non-binary identity which may or may not correspond with their sex or gender assigned at birth. That's gender identity. Sexual orientation naman, it refers to direction of emotional, sexual attraction, or conduct towards people of the same gender, homosexual orientation, or towards people of more than one gender, bisexual orientation, or towards people of different gender, heterosexual orientation, or to the absence of sexual orientation, asexual attraction. That's gender expression, identity, and orientation. Now, I don't know if clear po sa inyong screen, pero pag sinabi nating gender identity, to clearly explain, gender identity refers to individual sense of their own gender. Example, nasa mind yan. For example, ako ay isang lalaki, ako ay isang babae, okay? I'm a man. That's what? Sense of their own gender. Pag sinabi nating sexual orientation, it refers to who you are attracted to physically, emotionally, and romantically. Pag sinabi naman nating gender expression, refers to the way a person physically communicates their gender identity, whether you're feminine, masculine, and biological sex naman, that's your assigned sex. Okay? It's a label given at birth based on genitalia and other factors like hormones and chromosomes. Okay. Yung current na SOGIE Equality Bill was filed in December of 2022. And it's more inclusive, includes discrimination based on sexual orientation, and so on. And ang tanong, meron na bang progress? Wala pa rin. Okay, number 18. Is same-sex marriage legal in the Philippines? A, yes. B, no. C, maybe. Or D, there are no talks about it. Legal ba ang same-sex marriage sa Pilipinas? Ang sagot? No, that's no. Letter B. Because, malalaman natin yan. Number 19. Which Asian jurisdiction first legalized same-sex marriage in 2019? A, Thailand. B, Singapore. C, Taiwan. Or D, Japan. Ano ang unang Asian jurisdiction na nag-legalize ng same-sex marriage noong 2019? That's letter C, Taiwan. Letter C, Taiwan. Siya ang unang Asian jurisdiction na nag-legalize ng marriage or same-sex marriage noong 2019. Okay, yung Thai na sinasabi nyo, the Thai Senate approved a marriage equality bill on June 18 last year, okay, which is expected to come into effect before the end of the year or last year. Okay. That's according to CNN. Okay, si Taiwan, the Taiwan Constitutional Court ruled in 2017 that marriage could not be restricted to opposite-sex couples and gave Parliament 2 years to enact legislation legalizing same-sex marriage. So, it went into effect on May 24 of 2019, making Taiwan the first country to enact marriage equality in Asia. Okay, pag sinabi nating same-sex marriage are becoming legal in many nations. So, eto, tandaan nyo lang yung mga countries. Pag sinabi natin same-sex marriage, yung unang country na nag-legalize noong 2001 ay si Netherlands. Pag sinabi naman natin sa Asia, noong 2019, that's Taiwan. Pag sinabi natin Africa, that's South Africa. And it's the first country in the Southern Hemisphere to legalize the practice. Okay. How about same-sex marriage in the Philippines? Baka yun yung tanong nyo. Unfortunately, same-sex marriage are not legally recognized in the Philippines. Because again, we're predominantly Catholic population and conservative cultural influences. And hindi siya mapasa-pasa despite calls for change and growing support of LGBTQIA+ rights. Okay, isa rin po sa pinasa or isa rin po sa mga bills na pinasa or ipinasa or ang nag-introduce sa kanya, ano ba yan, bulol? Ang nag-introduce sa bill na to ay si Robin Hood Padilla or si Senator Robin. That's Senate Bill number 449, institutionalizing civil unions of same-sex couples, establishing the rights and obligations for other purposes. However, walang progress. Now, contraceptives, HIV transmission, and the necessity for unsafe abortions are decreased by using contraception. And, however, in the Philippines, pag sinabi natin contraceptions, the Catholic Church, however, is adamantly opposed to the use of contraception. Ang gusto nila, abstinence or celibacy. Yan po yung best strategy for preventing unintended pregnancies. Sexual harassment, it's a type of discrimination, gravely violates both individual rights and institutional ideals. Kasi madalas na biktima ng sexual harassment ay mga kababaihan, lalong-lalo na sa kanilang workplace at sa public din also. Di ba meron tayong ginatawag na catcalling, yung psst, yung with you. Di ba? Yun yung mga example po ng sexual harassment. If a person, di po sa babae lang, but also mga lalaki, nakaka-feel din po ng sexual harassment. Okay. Case system. Yung case system is an example of social stratification sa anong bansa? Sa India. It's a social hierarchy na kung saan it is passed down via generation and it's very strict. Pag ipinanganak ng ganito, ganyan ka na talaga habang buhay. It can control a person's ability to choose their career and their other facets of their social existence, such as whom they can to marry. If satriya ka, if sudra ka, that can be passed down. And it's strict. Okay, tanong, meron pa rin po bang practice ng case system sa India ngayon? Yes, meron. In spite, according to Ferenamenka.eu, in spite of 73 years past since, today, India is still facing case-based problems, discrimination, and rural areas. Small villages, untouchability is still in practice. Example, ito. Merong pinatay. Sorry for the word. Trigger warning lang po. Merong pinatay na dalitman, killed for sitting cross-legged, threatened for riding a horse. That's an example of violence against those people. Number 20. How can culture be described as the sum of symbols, ideas, forms of expressions, and material products associated with a social system? Question, how can culture be described as the sum of symbols, ideas, forms of expression, and material products associated with a social system? Now, tip po, kapag kayo sasagot, dapat po tingnan nyo po ang difference and similarities of the choices. Eliminate choices. Alin ba sa mga sumusunod dito ang sagot? Alin ba yung naiiba? That's letter B, a complex whole. Because culture, it described as the sum of symbols, ideas, forms of expression, material products as a complex whole. That's letter B. Okay, culture, it's a general word used to describe social behavior, institutions, conventions present in human societies. Example ng kultura, yung mga tradisyon natin, yung legal na sistema na fina-follow natin, yung mga routines, skills of people who make up these groups. That's culture. Now, meron tayong dalawang klase ng culture. We have ideal culture and real culture. For example po, ng ideal culture, it describes the cultural norms that members of a society adhere to. Example, it includes every set of ideals na dapat natin talagang i-follow. Ideals, standards, and principles that a society strives to uphold. For example, sa kasal, ideal culture, till death do us part. Diba? Yun yung mga pangako natin sa harapan ng altar. Pag sinabi naman nating real culture, it describes the ideals and standards of conduct that members of the society claim to uphold. Ito yung, kung meron tayong till death do us part, sa real culture naman, meron tayong legal separation, divorce, annulment, among others. Okay. Number 21. Which of the following is not a proposed method for shifting to a federal system of government in the Philippines? Number 21. Which of the following is not a proposed method for shifting to a federal system of government in the Philippines? A. Presidential decree. B. Constituent Assembly. C. Constitutional Convention. D. People's Initiative. Sagot is not a proposed method for shifting. Ano ba yung tawag dito? Ano ba yung nakakapagpabago ng ating konstitusyon? That's except saan? A. Presidential decree. Di ba? Kapag tayo merong babaguhin, especially system of government, ano ba yung tatlo? Con-as, con-con, at People's Initiative. That's P, C, and D. Number 22. How can federalism promote greater local autonomy and responsiveness to the needs of diverse populations? How can federalism promote greater local autonomy and responsiveness to the needs of diverse population? Diba ito yung sinusulong na dapat federal system of government na tayo. Diba? Yun po yung mga sinusulong nila. Now, ano po yung pinopromote nila? Is it A, B, C, or D? That's letter B. By allowing regional government to make decisions on issues that affect their communities. Layo ng federalismo na mabigyan ng greater local autonomy ang isang rehiyon. Okay? Na dapat makapag-focus sila doon. Yung budget ay konti na lang yung ibibigay sa national fund or nasa national government at mas makapag-focus dapat ang mga regional governments sa sarili nilang mga rehiyon. Yan po yung essence or esensya ng ng federalismo. To make decisions on issues that affect their communities. Okay. Pag sinabi natin federalism, nandito na tayo sa political trends and issues. Pag sinabi natin federalism, it was promoted by the Duterte administration. Decentralization may be utilized to end poverty, encourage more local autonomy, and foster territorial growth. Because whether we like it or not, makikita naman talaga natin na most of the development ay nasa Luzon. If you will look at Visayas and Mindanao, ito kasi yung tawag nila, explanation din nila, na if you will look at Mindanao, kulang pa talaga ang suporta from the government. So, isa ito sa mga pinopropose to solve these problems. That's federalism. Okay, number 23. What example can you give to illustrate rampant tribalism in our political system? What example can you give to illustrate rampant tribalism in our political system? What example can you give to illustrate? Ano ba yung tribalism na tinatawag? 'Di ba? According to the study na I don't know if I'm correct with the digits, but 80% daw ng ating mga ng ating mga provinces or 80% ng Pilipinas ay ruled by political dynasties. Okay, ruled by the political dynasties. Now, tanong, ano po ba ang mga major political dynasties na masyadong maimpluwensya sa ngayon? That's the Marcoses and the Dutertes. That's letter C, that's political dynasty. Okay, number 24. In the study on voters, election perceptions, and extent of loyalty and emergence of political dynasty in a province in central Luzon, it came out that though constituents do not agree with the current election system, yet they still accord their loyalty to the candidates belonging to one family or the clan. The very reason why political dynasty becomes rampant. Now, what recommendation can be made with this given conclusion? Again, in the study on voters' election perceptions and extent of loyalty and emergence of political dynasty in a province in Central Luzon, lumalabas daw na that though constituents do not agree with the current election system yet, they still accord their loyalty sa mga kandidato na those who belong to one family or clan. The very reason why political dynasty becomes rampant. Now, what recommendation can be made with this given conclusion? Sagot? Letter A. Initiate an election information drive regarding the right choice of candidates. Kasi isa ito sa toxic trait nating mga Pinoy. Hindi ko naman nilalahat, but isang toxic trait na we vote for that or we voted for that politician out of our loyalty to them. 'Di ba? Hindi natin tinitingnan yung iba ng mga kandidato na merong mga magagandang track records, qualifications, 'di ba? That's letter A. Ano ba ang dapat na solusyon? To initiate an election information drive regarding the right choice of candidates. That's letter A. Hindi po pwede si letter B, change the manner of election mechanisms. Although pwede siya, but not totally. Letter C, expand. Di ibig sabihin na kailangang i-change yung manner of election, but through legalization. Letter C, expand election-related violations by including the voters who will elect candidates from political dynasty. D, deploy more police enforcers to oversee the election. Not necessarily. Although tama naman din po, but yung sa ating STEM, that's letter A. Initiate an election information drive regarding the right choice of candidates. Okay, political dynasty. When a family holds onto at least one elective seat across several election cycle, this happens. So, tanong, Pilipinas lang ba? Hindi. Meron din pong mga modern democracies such as Argentina, India, Japan, Mexico, na pinamumunuan ng mga political dynasties. Now, tanong ko sa inyo, kayo po ba na nakikinig ngayon ay pinamumunuan ng political dynasties? Type yes. Kung pinamumunuan kayo, tingnan natin kung totoo yung 80% na sinasabi sa research. Pero sure ako, kayo ay pinamumunuan ng mga political dynasties. Okay, the families of Marcos, Aquino, Binay, Macapagal, Duterte, and Rojas are notable political dynasties in the Philippines. Oh, sabi ni Ma'am Gina Lu, yes daw. Ni Ma'am, I don't know na pangalan niyo po, NY, Ma'am or Sir NY. Sabi niya, yes din po. Di ba? Dalawa na. That's 25, yes. Okay. Yes din, sabi ni Ma'am Jovelyn. Di ba? Most of you pinamumunuan. Sa totoo yung research. Number 25. Which of the following does not describe global peace? Ay, sorry po, Sir NY. Number 25. Which of the following does not describe global peace? A. Control of eminent power and social justice. B. Demilitarization and disarmament. C. Transformational of the culture of war and violence to a culture of peace. Or D. Ability and willingness to resolve conflicts in non-violent ways. Which of the following does not describe global peace? That's letter A. Because again, hinahanap natin, hindi daw makakapag-describe ng salitang global peace. B. Demilitarization and disarmament. Global peace yan. Transformation of culture of war and violence to a culture of peace. That's global, a part ng global peace. Ability and willingness to resolve conflicts in non-violent ways, that's part of global peace. Na ano yung hindi? That's letter A. Control of eminent power and social justice. Pag sinabi nating militarization, kabaligtaran ng salitang demilitarization. Militarization, ito yung pagpapa or pagpapa-enhance ng in preparation for the violence of war. It's the method through which a civilization prepares itself for the violence of war. So, it is the material or metaphorical and cultural build-up to war. Kaya nga, merong mga bansa na nagpapalakas ng kanilang nuclear weapons. Such as, for example, yung North Korea. It is thought to be the most militarized nation in the world. Pinapalakas nila or they're preparing for something. Okay, pinapalakas nila. Yung iba ay merong millions of soldiers serving in the armed forces. Yung iba din mandatory na nakikilahok sa training for militarization. That's example of militarization. And civil war. Ano ba ang civil war? This refers to armed combat between citizens of a nation. So, globally, more than 200 civil conflicts have erupted worldwide since 1946. Some of them ay, yung causes ng civil war ay hindi na sila, or merong disagreement between the government or its people, or among the people themselves. So, however, paramilitary groups, terrorist groups, gangs, and cartels are also playing a larger role in these battles. That's civil war. Number 26. On preventing war, what theory is behind building massive armaments and nuclear weapons on nuclear attack by other states? A. Deterrence. B. Military coalition. C. Disarmament. D. Balance of power. Number 26. On preventing war, what theory is behind building massive armaments and nuclear weapons on nuclear attack by other states? That's, diba, clue natin, on preventing war. Alin daw na theory ito? That's letter A, deterrence. That's letter A, deterrence. Pag sinabi nating military coalition, this refers to an alliance of multiple countries for military purposes. Halimbawa na lang, Pilipinas, Japan, tsaka yung USA. That's an example of military coalition na meron tayong ginaganap na balikatan exercises for military purposes to form an alliance with those countries, not necessarily focused on preventing war through the threat of force. Disarmament naman, this involves reducing or eliminating weapons, which is the opposite of building up armaments. Pag sinabi nating deterrence theory, is the theory that a country can prevent a war or can prevent war by demonstrating the ability and willingness to inflict unacceptable damage on any potential aggressor. This is often achieved through the development and deployment of massive armaments and nuclear weapons. The idea is that a threat of retaliation would deter an enemy from attacking. That's deterrence theory. Kumbaga, sa deterrence theory, na napipigilan mo, ah, or example, napipigilan mo ang isang bansa na go into war, ano, kapag kayo inattack, aatakihin nyo rin sila. This is an example of the terrorist theory. Para matakot, di ba? Nuclear disarmament naman, humanity faces serious threat from nuclear weapons to sustain global peace and security. So the United Nations has nuclear weapons elimination as its top goal. But merong mga countries na although they're part of the United Nations, but meron pa rin silang nuclear facilities. Through international efforts, several multilateral treaties have been developed to limit the use and development of deadly weapons. Okay. Um, yung nangyayari ngayon sa Middle East or sa gitnang silangan, that's an example of a battle between powers na may kinalaman din sa nuclear weapons. Terrorism. Terrorism, this illegal violence may harm social and economic development, threaten peace and security, and upend entire communities. That's terrorism. Now, ang tanong, what is the deadliest terrorist assault in human history? Sa Pilipinas, meron tayong mga terorista. Yung kilala talaga na terorista. Yung iba kasi nire-red tag na lang eh. But, number 27, what is the deadliest terrorist assault in human history? Alam nyo ang sagot dito. Because, it's part of the, tawag nito, worldwide phenomenon, no? Tuloy, worldwide event na nangyari na marami talagang namatay. It involved rather two buildings. That's 9/11 attack. Okay, the events of September 11, commonly referred to as the 9/11 attacks, encompassed a sequence of airline hijackings and suicide attack carried out in 2001. Ilan bang eroplano ang ibinangga sa dalawang building na to? Dalawa. Now, ano po ba yung terrorist groups that na may kinalaman sa 9/11 attack? That's Al-Qaeda. Okay? These assaults targeted various locations in the United States and stand as the most lethal terrorist acts on American soil. So, it killed 2,996 people and over 6,000 were wounded. Okay, dito tayo sa famous political personality. Hindi tayo magda-delve deeper dito sa kanila, but at least meron lang tayong background knowledge who they are. Okay, Lee Kuan Yew. Kilala siya as the Asian senior statesman who rid his city-states of narcotics, employment, and garbage. Si Lee Kuan Yew ay kilala siya as the man behind Singapore's development into a developed nation with a high-income economy while maintaining a loop-sided legislative majority at every general elections. So, he created a very successful anti-corruption government and civil service during this process. Hillary Clinton naman, siya yung first woman to receive a significant nomination from a significant US political party. Siya ang kalaban ni Donald Trump noong 2016. She was a member of the Democratic Party and served as the party's nominee for president in 2016. But natalo siya sa Electoral College vote and fell short of defeating Donald Trump. Si Volodymyr Zelensky, ang kilalang politician from Ukraine and a former comedian actor na naging presidente ng Ukraine. Now, Zelensky garnered international acclaim for his courage and commitment to lead his war-ravaged nation during the Russian invasion in February of 2022. Shinzo Abe, kilala siya sa Abenomics. It's an economic reform plan sa Japan. He served as the Prime Minister of Japan for the longest time, but he was assassinated or killed on July 8 of 2022. Kilala siya sa domestic reform agenda niya and a forward-looking foreign policy. Okay. So, yung Abenomics niya, it employed a surge in state spending, ultra-accommodative monetary policy to revitalize Japan's stagnant economy, yielded positive and inconsistent results. Pero yung kanyang Abenomics, it led to a substantial increase sa utang ng kanilang bansa. Okay, Mikhail Gorbachev, a politician from the Soviet Union who presided as the final head state from 1985 until nabuwag yung Soviet Union in 1991. He received the Nobel Peace Prize. Pag sinabi nating perestroika, reconstruction. Okay? Soviet Union's political and economic structure was reorganized to end the era of stagnation. Glasnost naman, ibig sabihin, openness. Improved transparency and openness in government, organization, and operation. So, glasnost was a manifestation of Gorbachev's administration. Dedication enabling Soviet citizens to openly debate systemic issues and potential fixes. Queen Elizabeth II, longest reigning monarch sa British history, but namatay siya noong September 8, 2022. Gaano ba katagal yung reign niya? 70 years and 214 days. It was the longest ever recorded for a British monarch and a female ruler in history. Now, sino ba ang pumalit kay Queen Elizabeth II as the ruler of British monarch? That's British monarchy, that's King Charles. Number 28. Ano ang tawag or what is the term for Queen Elizabeth's funeral plans? Meron na silang plano pag if ever namatay yung kanilang queen. Now, anong tawag sa plano? If ever namatay naman talaga, nangyari na. But ano yung tawag sa plano noon? Kay Queen Elizabeth funeral plans. Is it Operation God Bless the Queen? Operation London Bridge? Operation Buckingham Palace? Sagot? Operation London Bridge. Okay. Huwag na natin i-discuss yung Operation London Bridge, but nangyari na to, merong pina-follow na steps if ever namatay naman talaga na, pero the day the Queen dies. So, nalaman, di ba, ng media, yung pagkamatay ng Queen because official notification to the public via press association. So, the Prime Minister will be informed by phone call. That's yung una. Tapos, i-inform yung press association, magiging i-half-mast yung mga flags, magbibigay ng speech yung Prime Minister at speech ni King Charles. Number 29. A known personality who frequently appears in media accounts as one of the most popular international leaders among figures like Vladimir Putin. A known personality who frequently appears in media kasali siya sa time. Okay? Among figures like Vladimir Putin of Russia. That's Rodrigo Duterte. Okay, Rodrigo R. Duterte, siya ay kilala as the first Mindanaoan President of the Philippines and the 16th President. He frequently appears in media accounts as one of the most popular international leaders among figures like Vladimir Putin. And his war on drugs and federalism efforts made him renowned. Number 30. Globalization primarily encourages what? Globalization primarily encourages what? Isolationism and self-sufficiency, B. Cultural homogeneity and the loss of local traditions. C. Increased interaction and exchange between different societies. Or D. The decline of global trade and economic integration. Globalization, that's letter C. Increased interaction and exchange between different societies. Part of the globalization, yung nangyayari ngayon na tawag ito, technological advancements, digitalization, that's part of globalization. Yung meron na tayong madali ang pagproseso ng mga impormasyon, that's an example of globalization. Okay, pag sinabi natin globalization, nandito na tayo sa economic trends and issues. Pag sinabi natin globalization, this process encourages and strengthens the contracts between various communities and locations worldwide. The term global village, yan po yung tawag sa entire globe. Bakit? Connected kasi tayo sa internet and other forms of technological communication. Kaya tawag sa atin, global village. Number 31. Which of the following best exemplifies the concept of environmental sustainability? Alin sa mga sumusunod ang nag-exemplify ng concept of environmental sustainability? A. Building a new factory that creates jobs but pollutes the local river. B. Developing renewable energy sources to reduce reliance on fossil fuels. C. Prioritizing economic growth above all other considerations. D. Increasing consumption of goods and services to boost economic activity. Alin ba dito ang pinakamagandang sagot? Best exemplifies, that's kapag isasagot, basahin po muna yung choices. Okay, wag po agad sumagot because baka mamalikmata po kayo na meron palang mga negating words. Halimbawa, sa letter A, building a new factory that creates jobs but pollutes the local river. Letter D naman, increasing consumption of goods and services to boost economic activity. Although wala siyang negating words, but we're talking about environmental sustainability. That's letter B. Developing renewable energy sources to reduce reliance on fossil fuels. Because reliance on fossil fuels ay hindi sustainable. Okay. Sustainable development. Siguro ay familiar na kayo sa mga SDGs na established by UN. 'Di ba? Ini-incorporate ito mostly sa mga plans sa government, especially those plans na dapat i-implement at saka sa ating teaching as teachers or future teachers na dapat ay kakibat nito yung ating mga SDG goals. Mali. Kasi G for SDG goals na yan. Sustainable development, this means development that meets the needs of the present without compromising the ability of the future generations to meet their own needs. That's sustainable development. Na dapat ay nami-meet yung pangangailangan sa present in present na hindi nako-compromise yung mga susunod pa sa atin. Okay, we have 17 goals to transform our world. According to UN, we have 17 Sustainable Development Goals. Una, walang kahirapan, no poverty. 2, walang gutom, zero hunger. 3, good health and well-being. 4, quality education. 5, gender equality. 6, clean water and sanitation. 7, affordable and clean energy. 8, decent work and economic growth. 9, industry innovation and infrastructure. 10, reduce inequalities. 11, sustainable cities and communities. 12, responsible consumption and production. 13, climate action. 14, life below water. 15, life on land. 16, peace, justice, and strong institution. 17, partnership for the goals. Now, itong mga 17 goals na to ay dapat maabot ng bawat bansa sa mundo. And dapat ay tayo as social studies major, familiar tayo. We don't need to memorize these 17 goals, but kailangan nating i-familiarize. Because some of the questions na nalabas sa board exam ay related din sa Sustainable Development Goals. Bigyan ko kayo ng example, number 32. Which of the following best reflects the interconnected nature of the SDGs? Which of the following best reflects the interconnected nature of the SDGs? A. Addressing poverty without addressing climate change. Climate change is ineffective. B. All countries should focus solely on economic growth. C. Environmental protection is the sole responsibility of governments. Or D. Social and economic development can be achieved without considering environmental sustainability. Sagot, that's letter A. Addressing poverty without addressing climate change is ineffective. Because again, addressing poverty and addressing climate change is effective because it best reflects the interconnected nature of SDGs. And number 33, alimbawa rin ng mga nalabas sa board exam. Number 33, of the 17 UN Sustainable Development Goals which can be resolved through settlement initiatives. Example, zoning. A. Communities. B. Grow affordable and clean energy. C. Organize climate action. D. Mobilize sustainable cities and promote quality education. Sagot. That's letter D. Mobilize sustainable cities and promote quality education. Number 34. Of the 17 UN Sustainable Development Goals, which can be resolved through healthy foods education. Of the 17 UN Sustainable Development Goals, which can be resolved through healthy foods education. Again, clue natin. Kapag kayo isasagot, hanapin ang clue. Clue. Sagot, healthy foods education, that's letter C. Influence responsible consumption and production. Okay, number 35. What is a political and economic union of 11 Southeast Asian nations? What is a political and economic union of 11 Southeast Asian nations? I hope ay nakikinig pa rin po kayo at hindi kayo matutulog. Because kailangan natin madiscuss rin yung mga information sa rationalization. Although hapyaw lang, but at least meron din naman ma-refresh sa inyo. Number 35. That's ASEAN. Correct. That's ASEAN or ASEAN. Number 35.5. In which organization is the Philippines a member to fight communist aggression? In which organization is the Philippines a member to fight communist aggression? Sagot, that's letter Letter D, Seattle. Okay. Association of Southeast Asian Nations. It's a political and economic union of 11 Southeast Asian nations. And one of uh, these this organization ay merong common goal. That's a caring society. Okay, it fosters intergovernmental cooperation, makes it easier for its members to integrate economically, politically, militarily, educationally, and societally with other nations in Asia-Pacific region. Now, kailan ba na-establish ang ASEAN or ASEAN? Noong August 8, 1967, through what declaration? Bangkok Declaration. Now, yung ASEAN Charter naman, December 16, 2008. It is the new legal framework of Southeast Asian nations in its charter. Ano yung charter niya? ASEAN nations as described as caring society. Okay, ano ba yung pillars of ASEAN community? We have political security community, economic community, and socio-cultural community. Okay, alin bang mga bansa ang miyembro ng ASEAN? We have Indonesia, Malaysia, Philippines, Singapore, Thailand. We have also Brunei, Vietnam, Laos, Myanmar, and Cambodia. Now, ano yung future member nation na naghihintay ng boto from the member states? That's Timor-Leste or East Timor. Okay, according to Britannica, Southeast Asia Treaty Organization ay isang regional defense organization noong 1955 hanggang 1977. It was created by the Southeast Asia Collective Defense Treaty signed at Manila on September 8, 1954. But this organization held its final exercise on February 20, 1976 and formally ended noong June 30, 1977. Number 36. Which of the following best describes the primary characteristics of Cold War? Ano ba yung Cold War? Naglaban sila sa snow? Pag sinabi natin Cold War, sa Winter War ba to? Which of the following best describes the primary characteristics of the Cold War? A. Direct military conflict between the United States and Soviet Union. B. A period of intense economic competition between capitalist and communist nations. C. A state of political and ideological tension and rivalry without direct military conflict. Or D. A global war fought with conventional weapons. Okay, Cold War. Pag sinabi natin Cold War, meron bang physical or direct impact or meron bang tawag nito, bombahan na nangyari? Ang sagot ay wala because again, a state of political and ideological tension and rivalry without direct military conflict. Kasi si letter A, direct military conflict between the United States and Soviet Union. Pag sinabi natin Cold War, parang kayo yung sa jowa mo, nag-away kayo, hindi kayo, tawag nito, hindi kayo nag-meet physically, but meron kayong tension between each other. That's Cold War. Okay, historic trends and issues, Cold War. The intercontinental competition between the US and the USSR that sparked military build-ups, nuclear arms race, and the space race. Nagpapaunahan sila sinong una makakapunta sa outer space. Apart from their non-violent battle, These two nations have long back proxy conflicts. Number 37. Which of the following best exemplifies the concept of neo-colonialism in the context of the Philippines after its independence from the United States? A. The Philippines' continued reliance on U.S. military aid for its national defense. B. The establishment of diplomatic relations between the Philippines and the United States. C. The Philippines' membership in international organizations alongside the United States. Or D. The Philippines' adoption of the English language as its official language. Clue natin dito guys, best or teachers, best exemplifies the concept of neo-colonialism in the context of the Philippines. Neo-colonialism ha, after its independence from the United States. That's letter pinaka-ideal, letter A. The Philippines' continued reliance on U.S. military aid for its national defense. Pag sinabi nating neo-colonialism, ano ba to? It's the covert expansion of socio-economic and political initiatives by former colonial powers and was designed to uphold capitalism, neoliberal globalization, and cultural servitude of their former colonies. Now, matatawag ba natin na Pilipinas ay isang neo-colony ng United States? Yes, because neo-colonialism is made possible by the presence of American military personnel in the Philippines and the privileges granted to them over the Filipino people by number of laws. Although sabihin naman natin na hindi tayo colony, but we're neo-colony. Meron pa rin presensya ng ating ano ba tawag? Um, former colonizer. Former colonizer. Nawala na ako. Okay. Example. Yung nangyayari ngayon. 'Di ba? It's China versus US. Tapos merong Philippines in the stage, 'di ba? And ito, yung pagbisita ng kanilang defense minister. Hindi ako nagkakamali ha. Number 38, the COVID-19 pandemic highlighted the interconnectedness of global health systems. Which of the following best exemplifies this interconnectedness? The COVID-19 pandemic highlighted the interconnectedness of global health systems. Which of the following best exemplifies this interconnectedness? A. The development of vaccines in one country quickly becoming available in others. B. The rise in nationalism and protectionist policies during the pandemic. C. The limited impact of the pandemic on global economic activity. Or D. The lack of international cooperation in responding to the pandemic. Clue natin guys, interconnectedness of global health systems during COVID-19. Pag sinabi natin global interconnectedness, that's the development of vaccines in one country that quickly becoming available in others. Diba? Sobrang bilis ng pagdating ng mga vaccines to various countries, especially sa Pilipinas. Meron tayong Moderna, J&J, Pfizer, Sinovac. Yun yung mga vaccines. Okay. Isa sa mga historic trends and issues ay yung nangyaring pandemic noong 2019 until the present. Although hindi na siya pandemic, pero part na siya ng ating world, di ba? Nag-exist pa rin yung COVID-19. Now, pandemic, it's the global spread of a disease affecting what? The whole world. And the most recent pandemic ay yung COVID-19. Na saan ba ang tanong na dapat lang natin or dapat nating isa papel or isa utak or isa note. ay kung saan ba una nag-appear ang COVID-19? Yan ay sa Wuhan City sa China noong kailan? 2019. Now, pandemic by highlighting the rapid global sharing of medical advancement, vaccine development, and distribution efforts involve international collaboration and cooperation. Ang nangyaring ang medical advancement, vaccine development, and new distribution ay ano, it showcase how public health challenges transcend national borders. Number 39. The following form the aspiration of man for civilized societies in the world, but not to include blank. Again, the following form the aspiration of man for civilized societies in the world, but not to include blank. A. Progress, B. Peace, C. Prosperity, or D. War. Ang mga sumusunod daw ay form ng aspiration ng man, but not to include. Pag dito merong nasagot ng mali, hindi magkakajowa habang buhay. Klaro-klaro na yung sagot pag meron talaga. Nako. Okay, ayun. Sige. Keep it going. Ayun. Sige, tama. Kapag talaga, that's letter D, you are. Oy, gusto nila mag-jowa habang buhay. Ma'am Wengski, Sir NY, Ma'am Janalu, Ma'am Crisel. Ano ba to? Ma'am Cassie, Sir JK. Gusto nila magka-jowa. Oy. That's letter D, you are. Global conflicts. Conflicts arise in a variety of nations due to issues and competing interests. Conflicts like this have a terrible negative impact on society and are the leading source of hunger worldwide. And global conflicts ay present today. Diba ga? Okay, number 40. The 2022 Russian invasion of Ukraine has had a significant impact on the global political and economic landscape. Which of the following best exemplifies these impacts? Letter A. This resurgence of great power competition and the erosion of international cooperation. B. The increased reliance on renewable energy sources. C. The strengthening of international institutions and multilateralism. Or D. The decline of nationalism and the rise of globalism. The 2022 Russian invasion of Ukraine has had a significant impact on the global political and economic landscape. Bakit? Ano ba yung nag-exemplify ng impact na to? That's letter A. The resurgence of great power competition and erosion of international competition o cooperation. Diba nga, merong mga relasyon na nabubuwag dahil sa conflict. Okay, Russia versus Ukraine. Russia attacked and seized control of the Crimean Peninsula in Ukraine in 2014. On February 24, 2022, Russia invaded Ukraine, beginning an 8-year conflict that resulted in devastation, fatalities, and hundreds of thousands of displaced people. Ito yung nangyayari kapag talaga merong kaguluhan na or war na nag-exist. Okay. According to the Aniri in 2019 conclusion, Ukraine, Russia, and the West from Cold War to Cold War. It was published in Cambridge University Press. So, the Russian invasion of Ukraine has shattered the post-Cold War era of relative peace and stability. It has led to a resurgence of great power competition, increased geopolitical tensions because again, hindi lang to laban ng Russia at Ukraine, meron ding mga bansa na merong support or nagpapahayag ng suporta sa both countries. And weakening of international institutions. The conflict has also exposed divisions among nations and eroded trust in international cooperation. That's how the impact or ito yung impact ng Russia versus Ukraine. Okay, meron din tayong Saudi Arabia versus Iran. Okay, it's a struggle to shape the Middle East. Religious divisions have exacerbated the competition's political and economic nature. Both nations are using sectarianism in the area to further um, the geopolitical ambitions. Now, okay na ba to sila? So far, sa nabasa ko, okay na sila because ang nag-mediate sa kanila, if I'm not mistaken, ay si India. Ay, si India. Si China. Si China. Sorry. Okay. Following negotiations facilitated by China, Iran and Saudi Arabia decided to normalize their relations in March 2023. Now, what is really the reason for this behind a religion? And also principles. And also, yung Iran ngayon ay merong conflict with what country? Israel. Ito, Israel versus Palestine. On May 14, 1948, Israel proclaimed its independence, escalating the conflict as other armies joined the Palestinian Arabs in invading the old Palestine Mandate. Now, Israel is recognized as the world's only Jewish state situated to the east of Mediterranean Sea. Palestinians, or the Arab population originating from the land now controlled by Israel, commonly refer to the region as Palestine. Their goal is to establish a state called Palestine, either on all or part of the same land. So, ano nga ba yung core ng issue between Israel versus Palestine? Now, the core of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict revolves around the allocation of land. Kung kanino ba dapat itong parcel of land na to and how it is governed. Okay? Territory. That's the core of the issue. Now, presently, Israel conflicts with Hamas. Okay. According to the readings, yung Hamas daw, kaya nasali. Isa rin sa issue kung bakit nasali yung Iran sa labanan or sa conflict na to because yung Hamas, kumbaga Hamas is it's a I don't know if it's a correct term but a terrorist funded daw by Iran. Okay? A terrorist in Palestine na funded by Iran. This confrontation ensued after a violent incident on October 7, 2023, during which militants from both Hamas and Palestinian Islamic Jihad, another extremist group pala yung tamang term, initiated attacks resulting in the death of over 1,400 Israelis. Now, yung Israel ay nag-retaliate din. And the hostage-taking of more than 240 individuals. So, in response, binomba ni Israel yung Gaza Strip and launched a ground incursion leading to the deaths and injuries of tens of thousands of Palestinians. Naasa na makikita rin naman natin sa social media na medyo, hindi medyo, pero nakakaawa talaga, 'di ba? And bakit deserve ba nila 'yon? Yun yung mga questions na nasa ating isipan at sa ating mga puso. Nag-narrate na. Okay. Number 41. Can you elaborate on the reason why the United States and Australia rejected the 2005 Kyoto Protocol to cut gas emissions which cause climate warming? Can you elaborate on the reason why the United States and Australia rejected the 2005 Kyoto Protocol to cut gas emissions which cause climate warming? Bakit nila na-reject? Dahil it would hurt their economies. It would hurt their economies. Okay, global warming. Pag sinabi natin global warming, ito yung na-experience natin, di ba? Na sobrang init. Due to the use of fossil fuels, the pace of increase in Earth's temperature has accelerated in recent decades. Burning fossil fuels, clearing forests, and pollution from human activity all increase the greenhouse gases that affect the climate worldwide. That's global warming. Yung Kyoto Protocol ay, now again, to solve global warming, merong Kyoto Protocol na inadapt noong December 11 of 1997 of about 192 parties. Their commitment was to what? Limit and reduce greenhouse gases emissions in accordance with the agreed individual targets. Now, bakit aya or hindi or nireject nilang ratification or nireject ni Australia at US yung ratification ng plano? Australia has refused to ratify the Kyoto Pact on the grounds that it could damage the economy, heavily reliant on coal and gas exports, while doing nothing to curb the increasing levels of pollution billowing from developing countries such as China and India. Bakit kami lang? Bakit hindi natin questionin din itong mga countries nito, 'di ba? Yan yung mga issue na brinot up din nila. Okay, number 42. How does the development of renewable energy sources contribute to environmental sustainability? Okay, how does development of renewable energy sources nakaka-contribute sa environmental sustainability? A. By increasing reliance on fossil fuels. B. By reducing greenhouse gas emissions and mitigating climate change. C. By depleting natural resources. Or D. By having no impact on environment. Sagot natin dyan, simpleng-simple, that's letter B. By reducing greenhouse gas emissions and mitigating climate change. Kaya yan yung isa sa mga reason kung bakit meron tayong renewable energy sources. Okay. Malapit na tayong matapos. We are now in geographic trends and issues. Pag sinabi nating renewable energy, ito yung pinapalitan natin yung mga nakasanayan na burning of fossil fuels. Renewable energy, we employ a variety of renewable energy sources. By doing this, we will be able to reduce or produce energy without emitting greenhouse gases. Ano ba yung mga common sources of renewable energy? Una, solar energy. 'Di ba? Yung isa sa pinakamalaki na power plant or solar plant dito sa Pilipinas ay matatagpuan sa Luzon. If hindi ako nagkakamali, solar energy, solar panels are used to harvest energy from the sun. Wind energy naman, using enormous wind turbines to capture the kinetic energy of flowing air. Geothermal energy utilizes the accessible thermal energy from the Earth's interior, usually volcanic places. Meron ding hydropower, harnesses the energy of water moving from higher to lower elevations. Bioenergy, produced from a range of organic resources, wood, charcoal, dung, etc. Ocean energy naman, it uses the kinetic and thermal energy of seawater, waves or currents, for instance, to produce electricity or heat. Okay, territorial disputes. It occurs when two or more states disagree about which state has control over a certain area of territory. Examples of territorial disputes na nangyayari sa buong mundo. Una, sa Antarctica. Di ba wala naman talagang nagmamay-ari ng Antarctica? Walang bansa. Meron ba bansa? Okay. Since the Antarctica Treaty was signed in 1959, 7 nations claimed territorial claims sa kontinente. Ano ba yung mga 7 nations na yon? United Kingdom, France, Argentina, Australia, Chile, New Zealand, and Norway. Di ba napapansin ninyo? Di ba? Antarctica, di ba nasa south yan? Bakit merong United Kingdom? Merong France? Alam nyo na. Okay, alam nyo na, because of colonization, meron silang mga gusto nila mag-expand. However, neither the United States nor the rest of the world had acknowledged the claims of these 7 nations. Okay, Taiwan. Following its One China policy, ang gusto ng People's Republic of China ay dapat ay maging, tawag nito, hindi naman sakupin, but maging isa yung Taiwan sa China. Okay? Because of, again, One China policy. The People's Republic of China does not rule Taiwan but asserts sovereignty over it as part of its territory. Na according kay China, part namin si Taiwan. Okay? Sabi naman ng USA, no, they're independent. Okay. Meron ding Senkaku, Jiaoyu Islands sa East China Sea na kung saan hindi lang po pala si Pilipinas, Taiwan ang merong conflict with China but also si Japan rin. Okay, after oil and gas resources were discovered beneath these islands, which Japan controls and China claims, the battle over them grew more heated. So in 2012, massive anti-Japanese riots broke out in China as a result of a wealthy Japanese family selling one of the islands to the Japanese government. Diba? Senkaku, Jiaoyu Islands, East China Sea. Japan and China. Now, ito namang Scarborough Shoal. Scarborough Shoal, napapansin po nyo sa illustration, yan pong naka-red na dashed line ay yung 9 dashed line na claim ng China. Yun naman pong nasa orange ay yun yung EEZ or Philippine Exclusive Economic Zone. Na kung saan parte ng EEZ natin yung Scarborough Shoal at yung Spratly Islands. Now, Scarborough Shoal, 2 rocks on a shoal between Luzon and Macclesfield Bank administered by China in the South China Sea are referred to as Baho de Masinloc, Panatag Shoal, Wangyan Island, and Democracy Reef. Now, ano ba yung claim ng China? Na ito daw ng mga isla na to ay parte daw ng 9 dash line nila. So si China asserts dominance over this region. The 9 dash line is shown as a dashes rather than a continuous line because some Chinese experts considered it to be a maritime boundary. Ang claim naman ng Pilipinas, no, parte yan ng aming exclusive economic zone that spans over 263,816 square kilometers of water. Yung 200 nautical miles, EEZ namin. Number 43. On the concept of political power, di ba yung issue ng China and Philippines territorial disputes. At what level of politics does the Philippines contest China's claim to the Spratly Islands? Saan nga ba umabot yung issue na to? A. Personal level? B. National level? C. International level? Or D. Organizational level? That's on international level. That's letter C, international level ng issue na to. Okay, number 44. Aside from the Philippines, kasi hindi lang naman Pilipinas ang merong claim na may parts sa Spratly Islands. sa South China Sea. Pero meron ding mga bansa. Ano bang mga bansang ito? Is it China, Thailand, Brunei, Malaysia? Or China, Taiwan, Vietnam, Malaysia? Indonesia, China, Taiwan, Malaysia? Or D, China, Thailand, Brunei, Malaysia? Sagot natin for this item, ano yung mga bansa na merong kiniklaim na part sa Spratly Island sa South China Sea? Sagot, that's letter B. China, Taiwan, Vietnam, and Malaysia. That's letter B. Walang Thailand sa picture. Walang ding Indonesia sa picture. That's letter B. Okay. Di ba? Nasabi na natin yung EEZ. Now, what is EEZ po pala? Exclusive Economic Zone. Sa coastal countries such as the Philippines, meron tayong ine-enjoy na sovereignty to explore and exploit, conserving and managing the natural resources, whether it's living or non-living, sa waters superadjacent to the seabed and its subsoil, as well as establishments and the use of artificial islands. So, Spratly Islands, it's a series of islands and related nautical features in the South China Sea called the Spratly Islands. Na ano po ba yung mga bansa na merong claim sa Spratly Islands? Pilipinas, China, Taiwan, Malaysia, Brunei, and Vietnam are among them. Eto. And to further, sino po ba yung may claim sa tinatawag natin na Paracel Islands? Sa Paracel Islands, that's a territorial dispute between China, Vietnam, at saka Taiwan. Yung Scarborough Shoal naman, that's a territorial dispute between Philippines, Taiwan, China, and Vietnam. Spratly Islands naman, that's between Malaysia, Philippines, Vietnam, China, and Taiwan. Okay, number 45. The youngest country in the world. Ano po ba yung youngest country in the world? A. Kosovo, B. Montenegro, C. South Sudan, or D. East Timor? The youngest country in the world? Is it A, B, C, or D? That's letter C, South Sudan. South Sudan po yung youngest country in the world. Now, new independent countries, these nations were created throughout time as a result of breakup from the mother country or the division of an area that had previously attempted to become a new independent state. Now, alin po ba yung mga bansa na mga bago lang? Una, South Sudan. Binuwag siya from Sudan noong 2011. Si Kosovo naman, although partially recognized, seceded from Serbia in 2008 but not yet fully recognized by United Nations. Next, Montenegro noong 2006, separated from Serbia. East Timor gained independence after years of war between Indonesia in 1975, became sovereign in 2002. And Serbia separated from Montenegro in 2000. Next is the last trends and issues in education. Pag sinabi nating trifocalization, it refers to the division of responsibility for managing the three main educational systems and 3 separate government agencies are involved. Una, DepEd for basic education, SHED for the higher education, TESDA naman for skills-related education or vocational education. That's trifocalization. It involves what? DepEd, SHED, and TESDA. Inclusive education naman, all students are in the same schools and courses. It entails genuine educational possibilities for formerly marginalized population. And inclusive education, pinapractice natin yan sa, ano, sa ating education system. Kaya nga, no one left behind din eh. Okay, that's inclusive education. Mainstreaming naman, it's the inclusion of students na merong special needs sa general educational setting o regular schools. Mainstreaming, nag-i-exist ba yan sa educational system ng Philippines? Yes. And major paradigm shifts in global education. We're now learner-centered. We have learner-centered curriculum, contextualized learning, holistic and integrated approach, and lifelong learning for all. Number 46. How can critical thinking skills help individuals understand and address social issues like poverty and inequality? How can critical thinking skills help individuals understand and address social issues like poverty and inequality? Answer. Is it A, by allowing individuals to accept information at face value without question? Is it B, by promoting conformity and discouraging independent thought? Or is it C, by enabling individuals to analyze complex social problems, identifying underlying causes, and evaluate potential solutions? Or letter D, by focusing solely on individual responsibility and ignoring systemic factors? Critical thinking skills? That's letter C. By enabling individuals to analyze complex social problems, pag-identify kung ano ba ang causes ng mga problema na to, and to evaluate potential solutions. That's letter C. Number 47. How does cultural context influence communication and collaboration? How does cultural context influence communication and collaboration? Wala ba siyang impact sa communication or collaboration? Letter B, it can lead to misunderstandings and misinterpretations if not taken into account. Or letter C, it should be ignored to ensure effective communication across cultures. Or D, it is only relevant in international context and not within a single country. Pag merong cultural context involved sa communication and collaboration, sagot, letter B. It can lead to misunderstandings and misinterpretations if not taken into account. That's letter B. Okay, 21st century skills. We should have, or the student should have, or the teacher should enhance critical thinking, collaboration, communication, and creativity. That's the 4C. Collaboration, working together to reach a goal. Critical thinking, looking at problems in new ways. Creativity, trying new approaches and get things done equals innovation and invention. And communication naman, sharing thoughts, question, ideas, and solutions. That's the 4Cs. And that's the end of our trends and issues in social studies. And para at least matry po ninyo ang pagsagot, you may scan the QR code or type the link. Di ko pa na-change yung name, that's 2024, but 2025 na tayo ngayon. So, just type the code or scan the QR code or type the URL. Trends and Issues 2024 kasi 2024 ko pa siya nagawa. But you may still practice the test. That's Trends and Issues 2024. Pwede siyang i-scan. After this, pwede siyang masagot. Okay? As practice test. And tomorrow, before po tayo mag-start sa next natin na topic, we will be, tawag nito, we will run through the questions. Pero at least, meron tayong law of recency. If na-remember, or law of exercise, law of recency. Okay. Nascan nyo na po ba? Nakita nyo na po ba yung, na-visit nyo na po ba yung URL? If you have time after this, pwede nyo po siyang sagutan. But at least mahasa din po yung pagsagot po natin. And thank you so much po for joining today's video. Thank you so much po for joining today's video. I hope po ay mayroon po kayong natutunan kahit na pahapyaw lang po yung iba kasi po we don't need to delve deeper but we need to refresh and lang. And tomorrow po, same time pa rin, 8 to 10. Okay? Thank you so much everyone for joining tonight's video. And magkikita po tayo bukas ulit. Thank you so much po. Have a good night everyone. Thank you for joining. Thank you so much po. Hindi nyo po, hindi ko po ma-flash yung camera po kasi hindi nyo po ko makikita. Nangangapa pa po sa OBS. Thank you po for joining tonight's session and we will see each other po tomorrow. Thank you po. Good night everyone.